Because it could be dangerous.
Okay, Councilwoman Mendicino, would you lead us in the pledge tonight?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Supervisor Villanova.
Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest for all its residents. Thank you.
Amen.
Okay.
I'll be the best.
Presentations.
Oh, that was, they canceled.
Who was that?
The lady that was going to present something as far as the arts
Okay,
and crafts.
perfect. All right, I do have a presentation. Peter, did you want to make a presentation? No, okay.
Oh, I would like to talk at some point, but it's just trying to find the agenda.
All right, well, why don't we, I'll tell you, why don't I approve the minutes, any comments on the minutes from the February 19th meeting? No. If not, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
What happened, did we manage to Skype Mr. Nioras in or not?
He's here.
Oh, so I could just, Mr. Bob Nioras, thank you so much for being Skyped in. Can you see us, Bob?
Can't see.
Do you want to see us?
You can see the audience.
Okay, what do you prefer to see, Bob, the audience or the board? You stepped away? All right. Well, I just wanted everybody to know that Councilman Nioras is out of town, but he's participating via Skype tonight. Comments from the public? Goldie.
Sorry. I always apologize.
Okay, first I want to tell you something. Please don't talk about the dissolution of Rye Town, because Rye Town is the most historic town in this area. It took in an awful lot of communities it oversaw, and we cannot allow Rye Town to be dissolved. So please take into consideration, if you just don't like it, then disappear. But leave Rye Town alone, because Rye Town is a historic town. That's number one. Number two, I still have this problem with seniors and veterans and people who are disabled and lost their jobs with assessments. In the village of Portchester, as I told you before, we are a low-income to a middle-income community. We have more off the tax rolls in a village our size than any other village in the county of Westchester. We are getting killed with taxes. There are a lot of empty stores on Main Street and on Westchester Avenue, and because people can't do it. We have a lot of immigrants that are coming in that are Americans. All immigrants are Americans. If you look at the map shows North America, which has Mexico in it, Central America, and South America. We are the United States of America, and everybody in the United States from around the world is American. We may not all be United States citizens, but we're all Americans. Okay? Our schools are overloaded right now, and we are getting killed with school taxes. We have a board that's trying to help us, but it isn't going to help, because unfortunately we had a village who kept making residential properties. And the property, I understand, that's on Willard Avenue, I think it's Willard, across from the Summerfield Methodist Church. I think that person, I was told, went bankrupt, and they aren't doing anything there. But the marina property is already doing problems also. So we cannot take any more residential property. We've already told that to Starwood, who bought the United Hospital property. But we have to get our taxes down for residential people. I don't know what's going to happen in the election today, which is Republican against Democrat. I mean, and somebody who wants to be mayor also is involved in selling properties and buying properties and selling properties, and is also a relative of one of the trustees on the Portchester board. I don't know what's going to happen there. We'll find out tonight after the election is over, whether he's going to be the mayor or not. But we have to take care of all residential people who are struggling to stay in their homes. And our taxes have to come down. Our taxes. Now, Sandy, which is one storm, and we've had other storms beside that, have done a lot of damage to the properties in the village of Portchester, which is an antique community. Many of them have just stick houses, and they're struggling. They can't pay their bills, and a lot of them are losing their homes because of mortgages, payments, and everything. So there are a lot of problems, and we're hoping that you'll be able to do something about the assessments that are much too high in the village of Portchester. Thank you very much for being part of Rye Town, which is, as a historian, I feel you're very important. So please keep on going. Please keep the town of Rye going, because it's important. Okay? It's over us.
Thank you so much. Any other comments from the public?
Since Goldie was talking about history, I'd like to report an historic event which occurred here about a week ago. I was speaking at the NAACP meeting. Oh, my name is Peter Feynman. I was speaking...
Where do you live?
Milton Court, Portchester. I was speaking at the NAACP meeting about the Community Heritage Project we're working on. And not once during my presentation did Goldie interrupt me. I was able to go all the way without a single comment or question. And I think this should be entered into the logs as an historic event.
Well, would you make sure to get that minutes in the get that minuted?
You could talk to me afterwards, but not while I was speaking. As far as the Community Heritage Program goes, there are a couple things I would like to bring up. One, I think it would be helpful to have a press release issued under the Town of Rye letterhead stating that this is occurring, or we will be working on it, so at least people know about it and know it's official and it's for real, particularly if I get in touch with them. Another thing I would...
Hold on, just on that note, we have a pro bono press advisor who's a gentleman who asked your name, Dick Huber. Are you happy to help him with that press release, Mr. Hubert? Thank you. So, Mr. Fine, would you contact Mr. Hubert, and we'll get that done.
Right next to him.
Yeah, perfect. There you go.
As far as some of the events go, there has been some progress I'd like to mention. It looks like we will be able to stage Flashbacks, the musical on the history of Rye, at the Capitol Theater.
Really?
Wow.
Is that right? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Do we have a date?
No, we don't have a date.
What are the possible dates?
Well,
Can you coordinate with me? I want to make absolutely certain I'm in town.
The suggested dates were in June, but that's as far as we've got at this point. Camille thinks she's given me the time she requires for the rehearsal to be prepared. The Capitol Theater is very excited. This went first through the lawyer and then Tom Bailey, and they're eager to do this. So this will be an event where we are going to invite the fourth grade residents and their families to hear the story of Town of Rye's history, and hopefully to receive a certificate of some kind with the town logo of no legal significance, but simply certifying that they are here, suitable for framing, and if we're lucky, to have a passport of historic sites in here. And as part of that certificate and passport, I hope to work with Dave Thomas and the Tools for Change program. I think they'll be presenting here in a few weeks about their results, and Dave and I have spoken at that. I've attended one of their meetings. He thinks there may be some of the high school kids there who represent all three school systems in the town who might be willing to take these up as projects. These are also long-term projects to design the passport, the website, so on.
What do you mean by passport? Help me understand.
A passport is something like what you get for the National Park Service when you go to the different places, where when you go to, say, a different church here or a different historic place, you'll get a stamp.
Oh, cool.
Certify you're there. And if you go to a statue at certain times, we'll have someone there who can stamp it. This will show that you're familiarizing yourself with the community. You're going out of just the areas you normally walk to school to or shop to and become familiar with all different parts of it.
Wow.
And then once you have that, they'll start being competitive. How many stamps did you get? How many do you have? These like bird watchers. They'll each be trying to outdo the other with how many different... and the town hall would be one site, the village hall, for Rye Brook and for the different schools. All kinds of things could be in there. So we want to get people really involved. I usually say immersed in their community, but given Sandy, I don't know if that's always the most appropriate word, but it's let people really be more aware of their community than they are right now.
What a great idea.
By going to all these different areas. So I hope that will happen, and then we have different tours, walking tours, bus tours, King Street, Westchester Avenue, Midland, different streets here. I did have a conversation with the current mayor, and we'll find out tonight if he's the still mayor of Portchester, that he had agreed to convene the meeting of the religious organizations in the village of Portchester, and we can talk about how the churches, which represent so many different demographic groups, immigrant groups, different part of the history of the town, really, would participate in this project. So certain things are happening, but the press release would be nice. We've also been talking about having programs at each of the main two Town of Rye sites, Crawford Park and the beach. The Crawford House, what we've talked about with at least one member of the board, is having a scavenger hunt, particularly for the kids. And the Bedford Historical Society has done this in Bedford on the Commons and in the downtown area there. And that's a way to get really the young kids, the little kids involved. Also to do something at the beach, I don't know exactly what, but would like to have a boat ride on the Sound and in the Byram River going up to the bridge. I think there are some teachers, science teachers, who have done projects on ecology of the Sound that might participate in some of those rides. And again, just to give people a different view.
That's a wonderful idea. Now, do you need boats?
Yes.
So we need boat owners. Great. If you provide the scientists, I can help provide the boat owners.
Right, and maybe they could come right to the beach, or they could see the marina, the bulkheads, all the different things we hear about on the land side.
The bulkhead, assuming it's still up.
Yeah. Right. Well, that would be part of it. That would be something to see. It might fall. It's like when people go to Alaska to look at the glaciers. They like to see the glacier calf. They like to see the ice fall. Maybe we'll be there when the bulkhead collapses. So that will be historic too. So we're trying to give people a different perspective of the town. As many as possible. And again, as with the NAACP, just to get the different cultural organizations.
Great.
And the one other thing I'd like to do at some point, and I mentioned it, I think, at perhaps at 222 Grace Church, have some concluding event of some kind where we invite the different cultural organizations to have display tables. Perhaps we have a buffet lunch of some kind. You get to talk about the future of the town, which will still exist, we hope, at that point. And just, again, a little more formal, not formal, but a little more so than Crawford Park or food at the beach.
Sure.
And one final note is I believe democracy is a hands-on event experience, and you need to practice it. So, and this I get from my father, who did this when I was growing up. He would do this in New Rochelle. He would take over the village, the city hall in New Rochelle, and have mock council meetings. And I would like to see us do that here in the town, in Rye, make this place available when we talk with the teachers about what grade is most appropriate to do this. Where they would come in here, and somebody would be the town supervisor, and others would be the council, and people would be members of the community, and they would raise issues to debate. Giving them a hands-on experience in their community. I would also like to see, if possible, and this I'd go through you as the town supervisor, if we can contact our county legislatures and our state representatives about going to White Plains and going to Albany. Obviously, at higher grade levels, and maybe not everybody. There are obviously costs involved going to Albany. But again, it's to get people aware that the town of Rye isn't just this physical area. We are part of the county and we are part of the state. So these are just some of the thoughts I've had.
I love the idea. Now, do I get to select who plays Supervisor Carvin? Or, I'm joking.
It depends.
No, this is a spectacular idea.
Makes a donation to you.
Yeah, exactly. The spectacular idea. I love it, and I'm confident we can get the county involved, and probably the state assembly and the senators as well. Now, Councilman Collins, are you working with Mr. Feynman on this project?
We've exchanged a few emails. I mean, this is a huge undertaking. It's going to take everything, like, Portchester has gotten involved. And
so what do you have a name for this project?
Confining ourselves to those June dates that
I see. Okay.
Heritage Weekend.
Right.
Some of these things, like the meeting here, this is for next year as far as the school year goes. That's not going to happen.
It's still a little blue sky.
That's a longer term thing. Developing a website, that might be will probably be longer also.
Right.
But we certainly can do the play. We certainly can do the scavenger hunt. We certainly can do something at the beach. Those are definite. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention. This is something Putnam County did as part of their bicentennial, which just ended. They took yesterday and today photographs. They went to the archives and they took out photographs of what Putnam County looked like 100 or more years ago. And then they went to the exact same spot today, took another photograph of it, and they're putting that together in an album. And I think this is a great way to see how things have changed and how things haven't changed. 75 years ago, Capitol Theater was vaudeville. Today it's going to hold flashbacks.
It's a historic site.
It's an historic site.
Where's Craig?
I almost went through it. Not quite. But yeah, so these before and after photographs are a good way to see how the town's changed.
I do need them, but
this church was here. Maybe they added a wing or something, and it's just a way to look at the history through these photographs. Kids have cell phones. I'd like to get, again, Tools for Change involved in working with the archives. So where are the Rye Town pictures?
Yeah, so
now, I know the Portchester Library has a local history section, and we can use that probably with Goldie's help to identify good photographs that have been taken over the time. But Rye has photographs also that we could use.
Well, I thought possibly even Crawford Park we could do something where if we have a picture of one of the Crawford family members standing somewhere, perhaps the kids could stand in the same spot. Maybe we could display them in the what's currently the Blue Room for a period of time, or perhaps in our hallway downstairs.
Well, or families that have had events there, weddings or parties of some kind, they would have photographs they might want to contribute.
I know that we do have an enormous amount of information that Dave Thomas gathered on Crawford.
Well, these are all wonderful ideas. Could you work with Mr. Arcaro and Mr. Thomas and come up with a program proposal and a budget, I guess, and then we'll make it happen. Okay. These are all wonderful ideas. It's just a matter of coordinating. So if you coordinate with Mr. Arcaro and Mr. Thomas, thank you so much. I love the ideas. I mean, you're really at the forefront of, I still love that idea about signage, that history tour of, in the Rye History Group, what do they call themselves, whatever, we should coordinate with them as well. Well, the Historical Society of Rye along with Portchester.
Well, these are some similar ideas, just that was part of the town of Rye, obviously, for many years. It's not now.
Right.
To bring them involved.
For the time being.
Yes. Do you know something you'd like to share with the audience?
I could say they can't wait.
Where do we keep the...
No, I was saying the more areas we have, obviously, the more involved the project becomes. They have a lot of historic sites themselves that could easily...
Beautiful. Well, look, let's get let's just make it happen. I love all the ideas.
I'll find out what we have here.
Perhaps Councilman Collins, did you want to work with...
well, I said
be the liaison to the board to this project?
For the Crawford specifically, I'd be happy to work with finding it the right pictures and whatever we have here, and Michelle said probably the archives room, so I can
Then you'll
dig
have
through
something
some
to
stuff.
present at the Social Studies Conference
Right, next year.
December.
Right, exactly.
About what we've done and
Beautiful.
got schools involved.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fleming. And we should maybe resuscitate some of the Rye 350 stuff we did, too. We did a videotape. Jonathan Kroc did a videotape, so let's resuscitate. Thank you so much. Any other comments from the public?
Yeah.
I've got no other comments from the public. Mitch?
Yes.
Let's rock and roll here. Make this very quick.
I will do that.
Mr. Villanova told me I got to get through this meeting quick tonight.
I understand. Okay, first three resolutions, Resolution A, B, and C. All three are similar resolutions. They establish the homestead-based proportions for the Village of Rye Brook, the Village of Portchester, and the Portchester School District. Just so everybody at the board level and the audience understands, the town has calculated those proportions. They were reviewed by New York State, who confirmed the calculations. They were sent to the Village of Rye Brook.
So basically, the Village of Rye Brook residents pay 75% of the taxes, and homeowner and commercials pay 25%. Is that correct? All right. And in Portchester, residents pay 59% of the taxes, and commercials 41%.
Correct.
And similarly in the Portchester School District, it's 59% residential, 41% commercial.
That is
Those are the three ones we're voting on tonight.
Those are the three ones.
All right. We've done this year in, year out. Any questions from the board?
No.
Can I get a motion to approve these three residential percentages?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Okay. United Hospital.
United Hospital, Resolution D. This is a settlement of an outstanding certiorari. I would make this point that for well over a year, the town has had discussions with both the complainant as well as the Village of Portchester and the school district. Early on, the town had a meeting with the school board and the village to discuss the situation, to try and get everybody on the same page. There have been intervening discussions, emails. This settlement is essentially been reviewed by both the village and the school board, and in particular the school board thinks we did a good job. Everybody's apprised of it.
Maybe just it's worth taking time. This is the Starwood property. This has been at the heart of the Portchester election. And what we did about 16 months ago, or a little longer, was to convene the Portchester School District representatives and the Village of Portchester representatives. At that time, we encouraged the village board to try and work through, try and find a solution in terms of a zoning solution with the complainant, Starwood, in a way that they would not have to file a certiorari.
Correct.
That process ran for about 12 months, and nothing resulted from that process.
Correct.
At that point, I was still hopeful that we could delay, and we were told by our lawyers there was no law, the court would not allow us to delay any further.
We had several extensions to push out any final date, and in the end, the judge finally just told us this year, you will be in court in April.
And so we had no choice but to go to court this coming April, and ultimately we knew we were vulnerable, and basically the 2009 assessment is reduced from $22.35 million to $13 million. The 2010 assessment's been reduced from $20.5 million to $12 million. The 2011's gone from $17.5 to $11 million, and the 2012 estimate's gone from $12 to $11 million. And ultimately, that's obviously a significant reduction, significant clawback in taxes from both the school district and the village. I think overall it's about $800,000.
That is correct, including the county.
Including the county. So what's that? 60% of that's the school district. Is it just under $500,000?
Approximately $475,000.
So 470 schools just lost $475,000. Let me repeat that. The schools just lost $475,000. The village lost another $200,000 more or less.
To believe 250.
250, yes. And then the county and some other amount.
Essentially the balance.
So basically, Portchester taxpayers are a big loser here. So basically they're going to pay $800,000 more in taxes because, as Goldie always complains, we were unable to reach agreement with Starwood on any kind of development proposal there over the course of the last 16 months. So we didn't want to do it. We didn't were forced to do it. The school district has been very congratulated us on the job well done in achieving the result we did. The village board has been fully apprised each step of the way. They haven't come back with any formal commentary, but they certainly understand. Each of the trustees and the mayor know exactly what's happened. So I'm recommending we approve this. I don't know if there's any questions from the board.
Mr. Markowitz, what was the purchase price of that hospital property?
Approximately $26 million. It involved 3 lots.
And so now we're settling for essentially half that we bought the property for?
$11 million, exactly. The 2012 valuation is $11 million, yep.
That seems a bit drastic.
Well, when you don't zone for 5 years and you just tell them we're not going to do anything for you, you're a bad actor and we have no interest in engaging you, and that's what happens. It's a combination of the market, combination of the inability of the village to engage the developer.
And the zoning.
And let me be clear, we had an appraisal done. This agreement is higher value than the appraisal we had done. We had an outside appraiser come in. This valuation is higher.
This agreement is higher than our own appraised value.
Exactly. Third-party appraiser. Because they have to value based on the current zoning. They can't make up zoning.
Understood.
Any other questions from the board?
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, unfortunately not is right. And unfortunately, our hands are tied. I think it's a shame that we generated 12 months of window to get something done and nothing happened in those 12 months. It's actually a crying shame. And the big losers here are the taxpayers in the village of Portchester. We're going to lose $800,000. It was funny, in the Portchester campaign, the village campaign, all the talk was about how the schools were going to get hurt. We just lost $500,000 out of the schools. The schools, how much does it cost them to run the kindergarten that they weren't almost going to run this year? It's $200,000, something like that. They just lost $500,000, $475,000. It makes no sense to me, but anyway, there's an election tonight to decide what's going to happen on that. Can I get a motion to approve the change assessment in the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Actually, it's financial. Let's go right to call the roll, if you would.
Collins?
Aye.
Mendicino?
Aye.
Nioras? Villanova?
Well, wait, Nioras, he's there.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You can just...
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can vote, but I approve.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Yeah, I do.
Billy?
Yes.
And yes. Okay. Okay, next resolution, Mr. Markowitz.
Next resolution is to settle an outstanding certiorari for the years 2006 through 2012. The net result there was a single year's reduction in the assessment of $50,000 for 2012, assessment year 2012. No refunds will be required. So we resolved 7 years of outstanding certioraries with assessments between $1 and $2 million at no cost to the taxpayer.
Great work.
Very good.
I see what the numerical value is of this property. Where's the physical property? Okay.
Property is on the corner of
sorry.
Westchester Avenue and King Street. It abuts the train station.
Got it.
Good job, Mr. Markowitz.
Thank you.
Again, I would recommend we approve this. Any questions for Mr. Markowitz?
No.
Can I get a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Markowitz.
Westchester Avenue doesn't cost King.
No one's
What?
seconded.
Oh, no one seconded it? Sorry. Did I get a second?
Why did Westchester Avenue cross King Street?
What's in it? Like what?
It is a first floor of several retail stores. Above it is all, at this point, vacant offices. It was subject to a fire in 2011.
You do now.
Okay.
Vacated for several months, 100% during this period.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mark. Actually, hold on, while we have there, any town assessment report for tonight?
No reports.
No reports? All is good in the town assessment world? All right, fantastic, thank you. Mr. Dwanek.
Basically, the resolution is to renew Sullivan's maintenance contract for our computer networks and
Are we happy with their services?
We are thrilled with their services.
And what do we remember for how much? $18,000?
It's $18,000. It's the same as last year. There is no increase.
From when?
Excuse me? It's a 1 year.
Starting when?
April.
Right. Good. All right, perfect. Any questions from the board? You're happy with the services?
We are extremely happy. The place has not been running any better than it could.
All right.
But did you get a new keyboard? That's what I want to know.
That's right.
She actually has a new computer that is waiting to be installed.
All right.
Will Sullivan help with the installation of that, or is that something we'll do?
Yes, that's what Sullivan does.
No, I didn't know if they actually came and manually did that, though.
Do it herself. How many years has
Some of them are plug and play.
we contracted with this company?
This would be our third year.
Okay. And have we bid this out at all?
Well, we bid it out when we hired them.
Yeah.
Our feeling here is that there is no reason to bid it again. A, they're coming in at the same price as last year. B, we're happy with their services. All we're doing is extending an existing agreement that was bid at the time it was initially established.
Very good.
All right, don't move, Mr. Nowotny.
I got you.
Temporary maintenance services for parks, revised.
If you'll remember, a few months ago, we were authorized to initiate an RFP for maintenance services, if you will.
Yep.
And we have done so. However, we set up this emergency service to expire on March 31st because we thought the RFP would be ready out and so forth. We've run into a little bit of a slowdown. We've sent these RFPs out to the villages to give them an opportunity to see if this...
So can we be separate for them? Why do we have to wait for that? Why do we have to wait for Rye Top?
Well, because they asked for it. I mean,
No.
Rye Brook.
No. I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me start it again. Why can't we do Crawford Park independent of Rye Top Park?
Because, frankly, there's no justification for it. You'll be using the same staff, the same services, the same operation. I would not even dream of having two separate companies do that.
All right. Okay, so we're going to extend Greenway till the end of May?
Basically, we're saying till May 31st. We figure the RFP will be
$1,170 a week.
Same
We'll
price.
have the whole thing done by then?
We plan on it, yes.
Beautiful. Any questions for Mr. Nowotny?
I just wanted to know, what are we going to do with our equipment? Are we going to auction it? We're keeping it?
We're cataloging all of it now, and we are going to auction it off or sell it in some fashion. But we are cataloging that equipment as we speak.
How much? Do we know how much it's worth?
I'd be shocked if we got more than $100,000.
Okay.
When will we have a timeline for when we're going to do that?
I guess once we get the contract done.
Once we get our operations guys in here, then everything starts moving very quickly.
Okay. So we can expect that early summer.
Beautiful. All right, yes, I thought early summer, exactly. Thank you. I get a motion to approve the extension of the Greenway Services contract?
So moved.
All in favor? Oh, sorry, I didn't get the second. I had two movers. Sorry.
Movers and shakers.
There you go. Great. All right. Now, look, on these two resolutions, we're looking to spend money in I'm going to put it all under our Model American Community rubric. We're looking for $500 for the Veterans of Foreign Wars for flags, and $3,000 for Independence Day. I think we have to think about the $3,000 for July 4th fireworks. I think that's...
Where were we on the budget with that?
Yeah.
It's in the budget.
What we did with this year's budget is we took all of that and lumped it into a community services line. I think it was $55,000.
Exactly.
Rather than budget each independent line item. This way we thought the council would have much more flexibility in terms of what they would be
my question, do we have to vote on the July 4th today?
I guess we have some time. Both of the other villages did vote on it in their last meetings, and my recollection is
What do they collect? What do they
$3,500 for each.
How much? I'm sorry.
$3,500 for each. I know.
Yeah, but both of those, I mean, in relation to our budget.
Well,
Right,
yeah, they've got a $40 million budget and a $30 million budget, respectively.
Well, I'd like to propose that we bring it from 3,000 to 1,500. I don't know
That was
what.
exactly going to be my proposal as well.
Councilwoman Collins, right here, right here.
What did we give them last year?
3,000.
$3,000.
But I do agree, compared to the budgets of the villages, and the budget crisis we were in.
Yeah, you want to go to 2,000, Councilwoman Mendicino?
Yeah, that's a nice event. They rely on us to put it on.
It is a terrific event. I'm just trying to figure out now.
We don't want to limit ourselves so that we can't offer anything else to, like the Columbus Day Parade and the other things, but I mean, I'm certainly open to suggestions.
I'd like to table it for a month, and I'd like to have the budget in front of us so we can identify where we're going to spend for the year, and just make a better decision that way.
Yeah.
Perfect.
With regards to Resolution H, Mr. Nowotnik, correct me if I'm wrong, I remember one time we were asked for money for flags, and you actually took it a step further, and you went and purchased the flags. Is that right?
Yes, frankly, we've been purchasing the flags for the veterans and for the Memorial Day celebration and so forth. We've been doing that for the last 4 years.
Right, so in this case here, you're going to get the flags for them?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Yes, and that was put in the budget.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is, even though this resolution is saying that we're looking to
Donate the money for it?
donate the money, we're just looking to donate the flags.
Well, if you look at the letter behind the resolution may not have been worded correctly. They are asking for $500. In addition, they're asking for the flags. Now, the flags, as we've agreed, we've done that for the last 4 years. The $500 is what they call their meeting money, which is written in the town law, has been traditionally provided to them. Remember, there's 7 different veteran groups, and we've always provided somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,500.
Very good. Okay, I'm for that, and I don't know, other members of the board. I just want to make sure that we're clear on this, that we're providing the flag and the contribution, but they don't, even though they're happening simultaneously, they're not the same.
Correct.
Good.
You making a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion as amended.
And second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, I'm finished.
Exactly. Okay, thank you, Mr. Nowotnik. Now, Mr. Arcaro, we're rolling on pretty good here, but we're going to have a quick 5-year budget presentation because the numbers of the town are high. In spite of the significant reduction in personnel this year that we all know was a difficult decision, the numbers still don't look good, particularly when you look out 5 years. Are we going to be able to present this at all?
Well, because of the
Skype,
I think we do it manually.
All right. And
And then if you could...
Is this one page for each of us?
Yes, please.
There's lots of copies here. It's just...
In the corner it should be labeled blank 2 and 3.
Hold on, let's start again with the...
You got one right there, so just take one and pass.
Well, you made much more copies than we needed then.
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we make them available to the public? Mr.
Exactly.
Noto? Mr. Noto, would you make the extras available to the public?
This is 2.
Okay. And Mr. Noto, here we go again.
Are these pages 1 and 2 or all the same?
There's 3. You can see they're marked on
There's a
the...
blank, a 2 and a 3. The 1 didn't come out.
Blank is 2.
And 3. There's 3.
This is only going to depress us, huh?
Yes, it's going to depress you.
I had a feeling.
Blank 2 and 3. These are blank. This is 2 and 3.
All right.
Okay.
Actually, we should start with 3, I guess, right?
Well, the blank is the one that has no sales and no capital.
Where's the one with the worst? Where's the worst one?
Worst one is number 3.
Right. Okay, that's the one I want to start with.
Okay.
And so, what? No sale of 10 assets. and full-on capital expenditures.
Exactly.
Is that correct? I apologize, Councilman Nioras. I don't think he has anything, does he? No. I'm sorry. So I'll just describe it to you, Bob. I apologize for this.
I don't have that.
No, I know. I apologize. I'm just going to have to describe it to you. So basically, in a scenario, well, first of all, we have an annual operating deficit of $390,000 in 2013. We have an operating deficit of $418,000 in 2014. $635 in 15, $673 in 16, and $734 in 2017. Annual operating deficits totaling $2.8 million over the 5-year projected period. That's as it stands today, correct? When you add debt service on top of that, you're going to find that, what's the number I'm looking for here, Mr.?
Well, the debt service is up above.
Annual cash flow. What's the annual cash flow number mean?
So in the case of number 3, in this particular arrangement, it's including the debt service on existing debt.
So it has 390 and 130.
Existing debt.
Right. So if I add debt service to the operating deficit, the first year I have $130,000 in debt service, so my annual cash flow negative goes to $520.
That's correct.
Then it goes to $751, $1 million in 2015, 1.1. These are basically so these are the negative numbers. Where does he get in? Very good question, Councilman Mendicino. So if we take this year's budget, we're looking at $2.6 million in revenues,
Right.
$2.98 in expenditures, a $390,000 operating deficit. Now we're funding that with fund balance this year. So we're okay this year, and our fund balance will then, so now let me talk about the impact on town's fund balance. It goes from $1.6 million this year to $1.1 million at the end of the year.
Have we also forecasted the revenues for the next 5 years?
Yes.
Yes.
We essentially held them constant. Essentially held them constant.
Is that realistic?
Yeah. Well, I mean, should it go down? It's assuming status quo economy. If the economy recovers, you'd hope you get a little bit better. But I don't think we could. Look, this has been the, it's consistent with what we've been doing the last couple of years. So this is intended to be. Okay, well, so if you, well, Bishop's trying to get it back. So this is intended to be a realistic, as-is scenario. So your revenues are constant and your costs are going up primarily because of employee benefits. Correct?
Yes, we have employee benefits, which is contingency and Right Town Park on the bottom there, and capital reserve fund.
So, actually, sorry, there's 2 reasons the deficits are going up. Increased employee benefits. You can see in the employee benefit line it comes down from 2013 to 2014, and that's a result of the fact that we let our employees go. So that's the saving we generate. But then you see it continues to increase all the way to $864,000 in 2017. The other reason that our deficit's increasing is because we're assuming capital expenditures. Now, everybody knows in the town of Rye we haven't spent a capital expenditure in 50 years. We certainly haven't spent any meaningful capital expenditures. So basically, the plan incorporates capital expenditures of $1.5 million in 2014, $1.5 in 2015, $760,000 in 2016, and $2.3 million in 2017. And these capital expenditures flow from the good work that Mr. Nioras did earlier this year. So this assumes we make good on the capital expenditure program. So if we're good fiduciaries of the assets of the town of Rye, we're going to end up losing, we'll have a negative fund balance by the year 2015 of $688,000. All right, so that's scenario number 3. Now, scenario number, the first one, which one should we look at next, Mr. Arcaro?
How about the one with doing nothing?
No, let's do the one, I want to do the next worst one.
The next worst one would be the one doing nothing.
So that's the first one.
No sales, no capital, right.
Right, so that's the blank. Okay, so that one, we see that our fund balance expires again in 2015, but it's a $121,000 negative fund balance versus a $700,000 negative fund balance. And the difference being is we may no longer make any capital expenditures.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
So in this scenario, we don't make capital expenditures where we continue to be a bad fiduciary.